we kick off our post-lunch session, which is on an extremely interesting topic and a take on that topic. The title is Marketing Pakistan's Image Abroad, the story of Pakistan Pavilion Expo 2020 Dubai. And I'm extremely honored and privileged to invite the CEO of Bullseye DDB Group, Shoaib Qureshy. Shoaib sir, can you make your way onto the stage?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today I will be presenting the case of Pakistan Pavilion at Expo 2020 Dubai. But first, just a quick question. How many people from here actually got a chance to physically visit and see the pavilion? Just a show of hands. Okay, so good that not many have seen it. So this will be a very interesting case study presentation, and I'm sure a lot of people will learn a lot of things from this one. But to first begin, the main thing about this one is that World Expos have been happening in Pakistan, have been happening in the world every 4 years. So this is a global event that happens every 4 years, but never ever has Pakistan's participation garnered this much interest as it has this time. And frankly, honestly, myself also, I never knew where the World Expos were happening. I never knew what Pakistan did until now when I actually got to work on this project. Again, a quick trick question. Do you know where the last World Expo happened, which was before the Dubai one? Anyone? I also found out 8 months ago when I got on this project, it happened in China. And even the next expo, which is happening in Japan, nobody would know that it's happening in Japan. So what exactly happened this time round that actually it made Pakistan really fly its flag very high amongst the world? And the simple answer to that is that this particular government, honestly, the way they actually were interested in putting the right foot forward for Pakistan out there was what made the critical difference. And within this also specifically, I think never ever has Pakistan so wholeheartedly, so creatively come together to put out Pakistan to the world. And like you all were also listening to all these presentations before lunch, and there was a lot of talk about governance and things and public and private partnership. The one critical, what you call enzyme this time round was that instead of just being a public project, this time the private partnership was very strongly engaged into this one. So the kind of team that was put together from even the architects to the interior designers to the creative artists to everybody, they were all from the private sector. Even myself, which is like an agency which does marketing and PR, a private sector company was engaged specifically for this task, which was a critical success factor for this one. Moving on, I'll first start off with the 3 basic facts. This time, Pakistan Pavilion has really surprised the world and also Pakistanis. Even Pakistanis are surprised. Whether they were in Pakistan or in Dubai, they never thought Pakistan could do such a great presence or such a commanding display of what Pakistan is all about. And we as Pakistanis were very proud. Honestly, forget the world, we as Pakistanis anywhere in the world were so proud of what Pakistan was able to show to the world. The second critical fact here was that Pakistan Pavilion has continuously featured in the top 5 pavilions list. That's a fact. Be this list be coming from media, bloggers, critics, anybody. Pakistani Pavilion has been in the top 5 pavilions in any kind of list that was published out there. And the last important fact is that, which is specifically footfall driven, we also had a footfall target. Today, Pakistan Pavilion, ever since its opening, has been breaking footfall records. It is the most visited pavilion by all kinds of people who are coming into Dubai, and that's no mean an achievement for a country like Pakistan, whereby we know that we never really are in the top list, we always come in the bottom list of any world listing. So this was a big achievement from a Pakistan standpoint. But it was not easy. And that is what I want to present to you here today. If you look at the challenges, there were 192 participating countries at Dubai Expo this time round. 192. This is almost the globe. Everybody was participating there. So that was one big challenge. How do we make Pakistan stand out amongst these 192 countries? The second big challenge was, how do we get into the hearts and mind of people who would want to come to Expo and then come to Pakistan Pavilion? So this was like a real marketing and PR challenge that we had on our hands. Because I'll just give you a simple, actual, what is called a fact, that the place is so huge, the expo space was so huge, anybody, if you really want to just visit pavilions and see pavilions, you cannot see more than 10 to 15 pavilions in a day. It's so huge. So just imagine if anybody buys a ticket and comes to Expo, they will only probably make up their mind to visit 10 to 15 pavilions, and you had to be in their top of mind list for you to actually accomplish what you wanted to accomplish. So out of 192 pavilions, everybody trying for the same thing, Pakistan was very strongly able to achieve that, because people came into Expo to see the Pakistan pavilion, which was the job of marketing. The third and the biggest challenge that we had was that we were not in Pakistan, we were competing with everybody outside of Pakistan in an environment which has international media, in an environment which has regional media, which is controlled by India. So just imagine, how do you get the good news of Pakistan out into media in an environment whereby that media only wants negative, bad news of Pakistan? And it was a huge challenge. Even before we started, the kind of news that was being published in UAE or even in the globe were all bad news. Only bad news of Pakistan gets published in international media and the regional media. So this was a huge task at hand to actually get Pakistan to promote a very positive image. So how it happened and what lessons can be learned, because I see all the people here are on this Management Association of Pakistan forum, and you want to see and learn what are the management lessons that can be drawn out of this. So there are 4 or 5 key lessons that I have actually spelled out here that I would want to present today. And starting off with the first one, and this is critical. In marketing, in business, strategy and timing is it. These 2 factors are so important that if you get these 2 right, everything else becomes very easy. And on this particular project also, which was a 6-month-long project, it's still on. 31st March is when it ends. October 1st is when it started. And Pakistan never will have the kind of money that Saudi Arabia, that UAE, that USA, that the Western world will have to promote themselves. So with little money, how do you make impact? So strategy and timing was critical. Pakistan beat everybody simply on strategy and timing. That is what Pakistan did very well this time round. And again on strategy, when you have little money to play with, launch is very, very important. If you don't do the launch right, you can forget the future. Because many countries, because we got a chance to interact with other countries, many countries divided their budget across 6 months, and they said, it's a 6-month-long project. We need to make sure that we are present in all the key occasions. December, January is the prime time when everybody comes to Dubai, because that's when the weather is nice. We need to put maximum money at that point in time. We said no. In marketing, well begun is half done. For us, the launch was very, very important. And trust me, the work that we did starting October 1st, which was the first day of the expo, it was very hot in Dubai, very, very hot. Not even many visitors present in Dubai at that point in time, because Dubai also believed that the real traffic will come in December, January, February, when the weather is nice. But we started early, and from day 1 is when we pushed the accelerator. I'll just present one example, and then I'll explain how it helped deliver what we did.
So third live of the day, hello and a very good afternoon. It is now afternoon. We're here at Expo 2020 Dubai on the very first day. We've moved districts. This is the opportunity districts. We don't know where we're going. It's been a long day. So on my left, we have the extraordinary Opportunity Pavilion, Mission Impossible. Haven't seen Tom Cruise yet on the search. And over on my right, and this is well promised because lots of people were messaging on our previous videos, it is the absolutely extraordinary Pakistan Pavilion. I would say they've properly knocked it out of the park. I mean, look at that. I like the fact that I inadvertently used a cricket pavilion, a cricket analogy there. The colours are just breathtaking. It's another sort of kaleidoscope effect. I have a feeling it looks like it's slightly, do they move, do you think? Anyway, we're going to go in, we're going to take you indoors, just like you're here in person, and we're going to explore it.
So how many people got to see this video maybe on WhatsApp or anything? How many people? Just a quick show of hands. So this was the most viral video for Pakistan Pavilion during the entire project. It happened on the first day. And what it was, this lady, Georgina, is basically, she's a very famous reporter of The National, which is one of the top 3 newspapers and media outlets based in the UAE. It's based out of Abu Dhabi. So it was her media tour to Expo. That is what it was. But again, media tour was a very critical strategy. That is the video you saw. But what you didn't saw was what happened behind the scenes. Because this was all planned and it was all architecturally nicely designed and executed. So the main thing here is that we started when nobody actually started. People were saving their money. I remember at least 50 pavilions were not even open on October 1st. USA Pavilion announced we will open 1 month after, because everybody believed this is very hot, very bad time to start actually investing money. So we were the first ones out, and this was again something that was quite unique and quite different, but it really helped Pakistan do what it wanted to do. And this still stood out as the most viral video ever created by any pavilion for any kind of marketing or PR effort. The second critical strategy that we had was, we knew this is a long project. It's not like normal marketing or advertising work whereby you create this one masterpiece of advertising and you will push it for the next 3 months. It's not that kind of a project. We had to tell a lot of stories, and Pakistan has lots of good stories. So our second critical strategy here was that we will keep on telling. And for us to do that, what we did was that we organized ourselves in a manner whereby we made sure that we will put out good news about Pakistan at least once a week. That was our minimum criteria. So you can imagine 6 months, 6 times 4, 24 weeks. So we've been putting out consistent news minimum once a week for Pakistan out there in the UAE, international media, and also here in Pakistan, because many people who've not been out there, you got to see news either in television or print or even in social media, because consistently news was being put out. Just a quick flavor and sample of kind of news and things that were being put out. And again, in a media which honestly is controlled by India. Changingtimes, Gulf News, from editorial level to bottom is controlled by India. So whether specific events were happening at the pavilion, whether we were achieving certain milestones, Pakistan Pavilion was the fastest to achieve 100,000, fastest to achieve 200,000. We were breaking all records on footfall and everything. Even in online media here in Pakistan, the news was spreading fast. And again, with this government, you know that this government, actually when this government came into power, they pulled back all media money from all media. So the Pakistan media was as bad as international media at that point in time for us. So getting news into Pakistani media was also a big challenge. Players like Dawn, who clearly say, thank you very much, they also were forced to carry news because this was genuinely a great effort made by Pakistan, and it was for Pakistan. So whether in Dawn, whether in the news, whether anywhere, we got great coverage for the project. The third point that I want to make as a lesson here is that in any job, in any work, in anything that you do, and this is human nature, if it's really important for you, you will find a way and you will get it done. But if it's not important for you, we as human beings, we can tell 1,000 stories, 1,000 excuses of why it could not be done, and we can convince our bosses also. It's not a difficult job because human beings are quite talented at that. We can convince anybody that this could not be done and this is the reason, and it will be very nicely settled, no effect on your jobs also. But trust me, in your life there will come some projects, some things which really become passion projects. And these are the projects that bring out the best in you. This particular project was something like that. I in my lifetime have worked, you see many logos here, I've worked for Shan, I've worked for Bank Al-Falah, I still work for Unilever. And I love these companies. But in this particular project, this was the first time I was working for Pakistan. And there was something special in it. And it really made you use all the learnings, all the experiences that these great companies have provided you here in Pakistan to put to use for Pakistan for the first time. And that is, I think, is a very critical learning. If you can somehow find a bigger purpose in whatever you're doing, you will see a new you stepping out and actually creating wonders, not just for your personal, professional selves, but also for the companies or the corporates that you're working for. So what specifically we delivered based on this, just a few things I will portray here. Pakistan was able to achieve 20 million global reach. This is a huge number for Pakistan, for any news about Pakistan. This was the reach we achieved. We had 300 plus coverages across any kinds of media, and the project is still on. So it's just a 6-month project. You can imagine 50 plus coverages a month coming about Pakistan. Pakistan Pavilion was ranked amongst the top 5 pavilions by CNN. CNN only carries bomb and government change news. They don't carry Pakistan news. CNN ranked Pakistan amongst the top 5 pavilions. Dubai TV, which is one of the biggest Dubai television, they did a full episode on Pakistan Pavilion in the first week because of the roar, because of the uproar we created. And again, I tell you, from Dubai's own perspective, Sheikh Mohammed had put Pakistan in February. His visit to the Pakistan Pavilion was in February. So you can imagine where Dubai has placed Pakistan, but everybody was forced to just take notice of Pakistan and come to us and really give us coverage because we were creating waves when nobody was actually trying to do anything at that point in time. Bloomberg, which is a top business television, Bloomberg quickly wanted to interview Abdul Razak Daud Saab in the first 10 days of the project. But again, how did all this happen? We are simple Pakistanis. I'm born and bred here in Karachi. I stepped out in Dubai to do this project. But it was something about the country that made you go out to all kinds of corners to make it happen, because that is what humankind can do. If somehow you can raise yourself to a higher purpose, to a purpose that you can attach to, you can do anything. You can defeat the world, you can make waves in the world. That's how powerful we as Pakistanis are. That is what I've learned in this project. The last point that I want to make here, which is on this project, is that in marketing, things have changed. There was a time when advertising really worked beautifully. It still does, but it's very rare. Very few advertising is doing the trick. But content is king. This is the time for content. And if you're creating wonderful content consistently, you can create waves for your brands and for your companies that you're working for. On this particular project, what we did was that because this was a 6-month-long project, we put together a content team of around 12 to 13 people, which had photographers, videographers, social media teams, influencers, writers, everybody. They were all parked at the pavilion. So on the top of the pavilion, they had a whole admin block. So our team was all stationed at the pavilion. And day in, day out, every day we were creating content, because content was either at Expo or inside the pavilion. So our teams were shooting at least 5 hours a day daily and pulling out just 5 minutes of content to be posted every day. So just imagine 5 hours daily of production times 30 times 6 is the kind of production that happened. 5 minutes of content posted every day that went out. And social media is like wildfire. If your audience is in the globe, social media is what you need, and specifically for this kind of a project. I'll just play a 4-minute content clip here. Just a compilation of all the work that has happened, but it will give you a flavor of the kind of marketing and advertising power this project was creating.
It is perhaps one of the most exciting and challenging projects of my career, simply because I was expected to transform architecture into art. The magic perhaps lies in the fact that each one of these individual units, thousands of them, they look similar, identical, but all of them are unique, fractionally different from each other in terms of size and the color.
The idea was that in the inner journey of this pavilion, let's show the world what Pakistan is all about. So we bringing to the world that this little country hidden away has amazing treasures.
So the goal was that we have to change the image by saying the truth, what Pakistan is about. And then we coined the phrase that Pakistan is a hidden treasure. When you're seeing all the images, when you're experiencing the music, then you experience our crafts, then you experience our food. So I hope you're going to change your impression about what Pakistan is and what Pakistanis are.
Come and visit the Pakistan Pavilion and see the hidden treasures.
Honored to come here to the Pakistan Pavilion at the Expo 2020 to see how they're showcasing their country and a lot of the beautiful things that I saw in their country that is not always shown on traditional media, but showing the beautiful parts, the true parts of Pakistan to the world. And it's really Pakistan's time to shine.
ऐसा एक्सपीरियंस मेरा पहले नहीं रहा पाकिस्तानी पवेलियन को एक पॉजिटिव इमेज दुनिया के अंदर दिखाया जा रहा है
Pakistan is one of the top countries around the world that actually has it naturally. Look at this.
क्योंकि जिस खूबसूरती से यहाँ पे इन्होंने डिस्प्लेस किए हुए हमारे कल्चर हेरिटेज आर्ट क्राफ्ट्स के वो मैंने पहले कभी नहीं देखा The minute I walked in, I got goosebumps. It's beautifully done. Credit to our Honorable Prime Minister.
Pakistan is a very beautiful country, and I think it's great that Pakistan's come to Dubai to show the world in the expo how nice and beautiful Pakistan is.
Absolutely gorgeous colours.
मगर जैसे ही मैं दाखिल हुआ यकीन नहीं आया ये मेरी जिंदगी के बहुत अच्छे वक्त में से एक है
It's really beautiful, actually. Look at all the arts here. Wow.
Pavilion is really, really beautiful. I love the Pakistan Pavilion.
I really enjoyed visiting the Pakistan Pavilion.
This pavilion is absolutely amazing.
I think it's beautiful to see. You really get a feeling of the culture, of the history and tradition of Pakistan. You have beautiful places, beautiful colors.
So just as a closing remark, because since this is a Management Association of Pakistan platform, I just wanted to share another learning that I think is very important specifically for those people out here who may be either called a boss or a leader or the king or whoever you are in your company. This is a special message for all of you. Trust me, the critical thing in management is that you really have to be a human being. And in this particular project, what I want to tell you is that I had a leader who was not a boss. I had a leader who was genuinely a nice human being. And I have never worked for the government. Honestly, I've never worked for the government because I never wanted to. I hate the government. That is who I am. But because of this one man, this project became so beautiful and you wanted to do anything for him. Because he was a humble, down-to-earth, honest and straight person. And he wanted to genuinely do something good for Pakistan. There were many people, there were many bosses in the project too. I'm presenting right now during the project, so I can make a very nice presentation later also. But this particular man is what inspired to do and what has happened in this particular project, because he was a nice man. So the learning for everybody here is that if you have a human touch, if you actually can touch, even physically touch, the photo that I picked here, if I just go back here, you can, it's with a meaning that I picked this photo, because you expect these people at times, there are cronies who will come in the middle, they will not let you come close to such a person. But he had a human touch. This guy personally would call, this guy was on WhatsApp connected, and he was genuinely, personally interested to do good for Pakistan. And that is what made the team that was working for him to actually rise above their own self-capabilities and actually do something wonderful for Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shoaib. Extremely, I guess the word we're looking for is invested in addition to being human and being kind and being admirable, is take ownership of that project and be invested in it. Well, thank you so much for a captivating presentation. I'd like to invite Zubair Haider Saab, who's an EC member of Management Association of Pakistan, to help me give Shoaib a token of thanks. So again, ladies and gentlemen, we had a captivating presentation by Shoaib Qureshy, who's the CEO of Bullseye DDP Group. And whenever you are in Dubai, please do look up the Pakistan Pavilion. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you.